Welcome back to another video. In this video, we will discuss about the z-test, and in this video we will apply the z-test, which is our first question. The question is basically the agriculture researchers want to determine if the average pH level of a specific type of soil in a region is significantly different from the neutral pH value of 7. The collected pH measurements from 10 soil samples taken randomly from different locations in the region. The pH measurements are as follows: 6.8 to 7. So these are the values that are given in the questions, that are basically the different pH measurements. Basically here the sample of the test is basically 10, and here the number of sample is 10, and the mean, which is basically our population mean, that is given in the question, is 7. So we need to test this hypothesis, that is it significantly different or not. So is the data is related to the 7 or not. So let's go towards our question. In this question, as I already discussed, we will apply these 6 steps, and we will adopt the procedure of z-test, in which I have discussed in the previous video, that is comprises on the 6 steps. So the first step is basically, first of all, here I have to discuss about the library. In this we will use library, the teaching demos. If you have didn't install this library yet, so please install this library, and because in this basically we will use the library teaching demos. So after that, this is our data that I have created an variable, which is basically the pH, and as you know that in this data the sample mean and the sample standard deviation is not given, which is very necessary while we are getting our z-test. So in order to apply the z-test, we need to calculate the sample mean. So we can calculate our mean by using the mean function, and here we have written a code that is basically the mean, and also we can use the SD standard function, which is basically used to calculate the standard deviation. So in this way you can calculate your mean and standard deviation of the given values. So this is the population mean, that is also given in the question. That's all the results should be about this population mean. So this our the step 1 is hypothesis, to state our hypothesis. So our hypothesis should be like that: h naught nu is equal to 7, or h1 nu is not equal to 7. In both cases we should discuss about the population mean. Either our mean value is equal to 7 or is not equal to 7. So this is basically accepted or rejected on the basis of the p value, which I have discussed. I will discuss later. So the step 2 is basically the significance level. As we already discussed that if the significance level is not given in the question, we should use this significance level, which is basically the alpha 0.05. So as you know that this basically hypothesis, or this question is basically a two-tailed test, which we are going to discuss. So in this two-tailed test, our used level of significance should be alpha by 2. So if our alpha is equal to 0.05, if it is divided by 2, so the answer should be like the 0.05. So in order to calculate or interpret our result of the z-test, either to accept null hypothesis or reject basis on the p-value, but we will in this we will have a significance value of 0.05 rather than the 0.05. So after the step 3, which is basically our computation, and we use the test statistics. We know that this is basically the question of z-test, so we will use here the z-test to calculate this test. So here first of all we will create our variable, that the name of the z-test results, and then we will basically use a function of z dot test. This function basically helps us to calculate the z-test And then first of all we need to write our mean value, that is sample mean value, which is basically the sample mean that I have already created a variable previously, which I have discussed. Then we need to specify the population mean. So population mean should be described in this way with the help of the mu, which is called as mu. And here our population mean is basically should be labeled as population mean. Then we need to define the standard deviation, as we are using a library teaching demos. So we will here we will use a standard deviation like this to write the our standard deviation. But in case of BSD and library, we will use simply the sigma dot x. But in the case of using a library of teaching demos, we will use a function that is st, yani standard deviation. So standard deviation is basically our sample standard deviation, which I have already created in the previous lines. So after this, we should also describe our alternative. That is basically need to specify that either this is basically two-tailed test or one-tailed test. So as this is this test is basically the two-tailed test, so I will write it here the two-sided. So this is basically the two-sided, but we need to write it like this, two comma sided. So in this way you can write your code, and then we need to print it like with the help of this z test with result. So after running this code, you can see the output. So here our output, that is basically the one sample t-test, and this is also given by here this one is basically the value of z. This is the value of z, which is basically 0.11421, and this is basically the standard deviation. Standard deviation is 0.17512, and this is the standard deviation of the sample mean, and then the p-value. So we need to concern with the p-value, either to reject or accept the alternate hypothesis or null hypothesis. So to test the as I have already discussed in the previous video, especially in the procedure of the z-test and introduction to the z-test in these two videos, that if the p-value is greater than 0.05, then we accept our null hypothesis. So basically there our significance level is 0.025. So the p-value is greater than 0.025. So in this case we will accept our null hypothesis and we will reject our not hypothesis. And here you can see also written that the alternative hypothesis true mean is not equal to 7. It means that we need to reject the alternative hypothesis and to accept the null hypothesis. So this is basically the interpretation of the result. So we need to if we are interpreting our results, we should concern with the p-value, not rather than other values. So if you have or you can also write the code like this, especially for the step 4, that is basically the interpretation. If the z-test results $p.value is greater than 0.05, cat as the p-value is greater than 0.5, so we accept the null hypothesis, or either it is if its p-value is less than 0.05, then we reject the null hypothesis. So after running this code, you can see there the output. Now you can see here that as the p-value is greater than 0.05, so we accept the null hypothesis. So basically here we should write t0 not the 0.05. basically we need to write it here 0.025 and also here with 0.025, which is basically our significance level. So we will run this code again. So you can see here that as the p-value is greater than 0.025, so we accept the null hypothesis. So in this way you can accept or reject the null hypothesis depending upon your p-value, and this is basically the simple procedure or a simple way to calculate your or to interpret your results regarding to the z-test. So I hope you this video is very helpful for all of you. If you like my videos, please subscribe my channel and also press the bell icon button. Thank you.